to Ghost Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Welcome to Ngozi Talk Shows. My name is Nomsa Clara Mngube, and for those who have not we have not watched our channel. So this is Ngozi Talk Shows, and we talk about all subjects from all walks of life. We talk about everything basically, as long as we have a coach that is qualified for that topic. And with me today, I have lovely Dr. Bigot, and she's one of Ngozi Talk Show's coaches. Over to you, Dr. Bigot. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Numsa. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us. Whatever time that you are in the morning, early in the morning here in the U.S., or in the afternoon or evening, and I have questions for you. Would you love to be able to easily accomplish what it is that you love in your life, your goal, to be able to do that very, very easily? And seemingly it just fall into your lap, whether you want to be able to have peace of mind and ease regardless of what's going on in the world, not being Pollyannas, you're still moving forward, paying attention, but you're feeling at ease. Or perhaps it is in your relationship, perhaps it's in your business. Well, when we do that, if you want to be able to do that, then one thing you want to know is to actually see what's the benefit of staying stuck. And we're going to share more today on why is it good to know your benefits of staying stuck. And you might as well just decide, and some people, to stay where you are instead. So that is what we're going to share for you. Or if you choose to move forward, we can do that too. So what about you, Numsa? Have you seen any benefit in staying stuck in where you are? You are muted. I think, are you muted?
Stay muted. Okay, that's why I don't like muting myself, because I forget. Yes, I have noticed myself the benefits of getting stuck. I'm looking for a house, Dr. Bigot. I've been hunting for a house and refusing to actually pick just a normal house. And when we were moving a house, I kind of, we were putting things at the storage. I mean, invested so much for my broadcasting material, and I kind of packed my broadcasting material and it went with the storage by mistake, which I didn't think, because there was so much going on. And when I realized that actually my lightning was really bad, because I go and work, I go to the office, and then at 12 o'clock I have to come and broadcast near my daughter's school, so that I pick her up, because I love picking up my daughter. So basically, even in the office, I don't have broadcasting material. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I decided to use my phone. So I was like, I've invested so much from this material. I'm not buying any material. So I just went, okay, let me step back and just broadcast every day. I'm not going to stop broadcasting. My lightning has not been good, but the videos have been viewed. So, which is the message? People are interested with the message. So, I've just been going on and on. And yesterday, I was like, okay, let me buy lights and see how it's going to go. Just my phone. So, my phone is good. So, I've got the light. That's why my video is good. So, but being stuck, basically, it made me realize that sometimes it's a blessing. Because being stuck, you are forced to actually look into the situation more. But you have two choices. Sometimes some people may decide to actually give up. But for me, basically, when I'm stuck, it means there's something that I need to look at, something that I need to evaluate my life. And I don't have to label my situation, my circumstances. Some people do label their circumstances when they're stuck. They see it as bad. So for me, basically, it's like I know God loves me because I'm a Christian and I believe in God. And I believe that when I'm stuck, it doesn't mean He's not there. It means He's there. He's trying to show me the path that I need to lead. Maybe that path that I really want so much is not going to lead me to where I need to go. Or there are some things that I need to learn before I can get there. So that's how I see myself, my life, my stuck life when I'm stuck. Over to you, Dr. PK. Have you ever been in a situation where you have been basically you have to face challenges and stuck in that situation?
I have. I definitely have. And it was one of them was a couple situations. And with me personally, the one thing, there's a lot of echoing. I'm not sure why.
Oh yeah,
Do you
I
hear?
know why
Yep.
I need to pause.
Okay. So the one time that come to me very clearly is actually the with my income, my result at work, as well as accordingly my income. I was doing so well. I was doing so well and on track on accomplishing the $1 million, couple $1 million, and so forth and so on. And at some point, looking back, I remember receiving a message of something unrelated, something completely unrelated from my accountant. I think I was buying and selling house. But anyhow, something from the accountant, and this was toward the end of the year. Toward I think this was toward the third quarter, like right before October. And that year I've been growing, like a rocket, keep go, 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 go. And in October, I just look at it, and then something in me, looking back, something in me says, "Wonder how much tax you're gonna pay." Here in the United States, if we pay magnificent tax, and if you live in California, you pay even more magnificent tax. And I live in California, and so I wonder how much tax I'm paying all these things. And then I look at something else, and I'm like, wow, that text makes easily makes a few people's salary. Which is true. And so I look at that, and it didn't think I didn't notice it at the time. This, of course, as Steve Jobs says, when you look back, it's always, you can always see it. And when you look back, it's hindsight always 2020, right? But at the time I didn't notice. Now looking back, I suddenly noticed how much tax I am paying. And so what I noticed was my result suddenly stopped. it's actually not continuing to grow. And as Bob Proctor most famously known to say this, but many people as well, you're either growing or you are disintegrating. You know, life is not stationary. You're not stopping where you are. You might seem like you stuck where you are, but you either making minute progress that you cannot see yet, or you actually slowly disintegrating. Now, at the scale of and the speed of the business that I was at that time, it's easy to see even, and I'm very, I evaluate my business very closely, so I can see that things not moving, and then it's gonna start things up when you're slowing back. Then you can see that as well very easily. I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? And then later on, I actually realized that my benefit for that time to stay stuck was actually, if I was stuck, I did not I would not have to have a jump in the tax bracket. And just to give you an example here, in the United States, if you don't like paying tax and you're listening to this, you might go, ah! But there is a jump in the tax bracket for like where they go a little bit at a time, and then it jumped by like some 8 to 10% magnificently like that. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at the jump in the tax bracket. But that is one thing, one time where I was stuck with the income momentarily. Thankfully, with me, it was only happened for about a month. And like you said, the benefit in being stuck is when you are able to recognize why you are stuck, you're actually able to turn it around and then to do something to release that, and then you'll be able to say, oh, okay, this is what happening, and then propel your result. We actually still surpass that your goal even with that. But it was very interesting to see what benefit you have in with your work of being in relationship. Have you ever seen people where they might say they want to be in relationship, but then they kind of like keep staying stuck, and then what do you see them doing? Do they self sabotage seemingly? And do you see why some people self sabotaging and not moving forward? You need to unmute your mic.
Okay. Yeah, when it comes to a relationship, sometimes you meet all sorts of people. Like sometimes because we do offer coaching, and some people don't like coaching because of their beliefs. So they say, okay, I don't have a problem. I'm okay. So I'm like, okay, if you feel that you're okay, that's brilliant. So then you will send them the dates because they tell you they are okay. But then when they go and meet the person that they're dating, and they end up saying the wrong things, because when it comes to dating, when you are meeting someone, you have to talk about why you are there. So you cannot talk about the problems about your past for the first time, because that person for the first time they're meeting you, they want to know about you. They want to know whether is it worth coming back tomorrow for another second date. So if you find yourself talking about how awful your exes were, and how awful the relationship and the maintenance, how much they're paying maintenance, I don't think it has something to do with the dates. And then you find that this person is stuck in the past. They do need help. So that's when we have to step in and basically tell them the consequences of refusing coaching, that if you don't want to be coached, you can take your money and go somewhere else, because there is no point in helping someone who is stuck in one place, who don't want any improvement. Because if you have not dealt with your past, There is no way, Dr. Biket, I know even you yourself, you've gone through that. There is no way you can enter a relationship and be happy. You have to look at your past and you have to work on it. And once you work on it and forgive, accept, move on. So once you've moved on, then you can be happy. So those are the kind of problems that you meet with people that, or sometimes is the men when they're dating, men seems to think a relationship is all about dating supermodel, a woman who has to look like a supermodel. They give you a description of a woman, and this woman has to look like supermodels on TV. So I'm like, it doesn't exist. When it comes to relationship, it doesn't exist. So you have to basically find someone that is real, someone that is authentic. If you are looking for a supermodel, down the line, they're going to have a child. And their body, if you pick someone based on their looks, focus on their looks and nothing else, values, no beliefs about their looks, then that means that relationship is gonna fade when the looks change, because people change. I don't look the same like I looked last year. I I basically every year I look different because I'm getting older and my personality changes more and more. So things change. So I don't know if you have ever been in that situation where people judge relationships based on their looks, where you have friends where they're still stuck in the past, but they are looking for love.
I absolutely have relationships where I have known many people whose relationship based on look and or looking for relationship, and the number one and most important thing, and sometimes seemingly the only, and don't take me wrong, I mean, I think look is important, because if you just find somebody look appalling, it's gonna challenging, right? But there are people that I know that who says, oh, it got to be this way and that way, and all about look, and here being in the being so close to Hollywood and Beverly Hills and so forth. It's not only the look. With the look, you better have the wallet, right? You can look like the best of what have you, and I have many single friend who says like, oh yeah, he looks really good, and the first things that the people saw, looking at when I watch people who are dating and this and that, when they're looking at different profile, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, he looks good, and it come in about two thousands different expressions, but it's basically, he looks good, but how's his pocketbook? What car he drive? And so it was very interesting, and those two can change as well. But also, I also have known people, uh, quite a few friends actually, who they love to be in a relationship. They're very open minded, and they're not focused just on the look or the pocketbook, or even or even either of those. They're very open, and at the same time, they're still seemingly stuck. They got into a good relation, they meet people, start moving forward, and then backtracking. Meet people, moving forward, backtracking, and over time, and this actually happened with me at some point back in the day of the day. I keep sabotaging this one relationship, and thank goodness he's such a patient, and back then a whole lot more mature than I was. But what happened is I realized there was this thing of what we call the benefit of being stuck, and in these situations with with relationship, one benefit was, you know you don't have to change the way you live if you are not in a close enough relationship to be living with somebody and to be very close. I mean, if all you do is you go on good dates and you go on a few dates here, a few dates there, and keeping things kind of like at certain point and not moving forward. Well, you don't have to change, because if you have been single for some time and then you are in a much closer relationship now suddenly, then, well, you can't hang out with your single friend all the time, or you will not get your work done if you want to do both, right? And then the other thing is, and this is many times, this is a hidden reason for being stuck, that if this is your benefit for being stuck, then you might want to recognize this. If your goal is a relationship goal, is one thing that I notice is many people says that, well, if I got to if you're single, many of my friends, they the benefit of not having to change your life around. I mean, imagine you want not only going out, but like if you're moving in with somebody, you will not have all the space that you do. It was like, I remember when I first moved in this house, I'm like, okay, it's my house. I can do anything, whatever I want. I can put things wherever and all these good things, right? And then now imagine if you have you moving in with someone else, then you're like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I got to be thinking about this. I can't just be messy and nobody would mind and all this other thing. And that might be a reason but that might be a benefit of some people to stay stuck where they are in their relationship matter. And so that's something that I actually notice. It's sometimes it's the look, like you say, but sometimes it's an even more hidden benefit like that, where people don't have to change, and nobody seemingly like to change when it comes to relationships. Do you have any experience of people with in your relationship or your personal life, with people benefiting? And what do you think, for people who are listening, what are some of the things that people can do to unstuck if they are stuck and they notice they have benefits from that?
To be honest with you, Dr. Biggett, when you're stuck, the benefits of you getting out of it is, and you basically, you have to look at the situation, learn from that situation instead of blaming yourself, because, life is a journey. In order for you to succeed, there's going to be bumpy roads along the way. And you have to look at the situation when you are stuck, and instead of asking why, you have to look back and just enjoy every moment of your life and be grateful. You are a big fan of gratitude. Every day you post about gratitude, and be grateful of your life, because someone else at that moment is being told that your mother or your father is passed away, or your sister is passed away, but you are living that moment. So you have to be grateful, and you have to look at your life and say, okay, this is where I am today, but how can I actually change things? And start looking at yourself, because there might be some things that, like, if you are a believer of the universe, you are a believer of God, you have to look at how God works. If you want something in life, God will agree and say, these are the blessings that you want. So how much do you want this? And then you'll be presented with a situation, and that situation, that to you, it may appear as a problem, but it actually, behind the scenes, the unseen, is for you to change the path, tweak your path, a little bit. Or maybe if you are looking for a husband, maybe there is something that you need to tweak a little bit, instead of for you to find that man that you want. For me, basically, my man is very, very handsome. But when I was meeting the guy, he is handsome. It didn't basically, it was there, but it was never my priority. My priority was, yes, you are a man, you're wearing a trouser, you're looking good. I like that, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what's on the inside of that person. and I had to make him sweat. We had to go on a date, and I had to ask some questions because I have my daughter with me. It's not just me. So I had to evaluate him and see whether this person, if I introduced him to my daughter, because my daughter, she is raised properly, not judging people. She accepts anyone that comes in her way in her life because that's what her parents are. So I had to evaluate everything, that is he going to qualify to be in my life? Is it the person that has been brought by God, or is he here to cause destruction? And I had to meet his family. And when I met his family, actually, he basically showed me what kind of a person he was. He's just somebody that is so different. He is very, very polite, and he is very, very playful when he's with his family. He wouldn't do well with somebody who is basically talking, shouting all the time, because I wouldn't do well either with that kind of a person that is shouting all the time. So he had to go through all that. And for me, I don't go with the guys that goes to the gym Monday to Friday. I don't date them. It was a better habit that was in my head, that if I date these guys, they are players. But he is that kind of a person. He has the body, he has the looks. And I had to qualify him, though he's handsome. I had to tell him after that, actually, you are good to go. You've got everything packaged that I need. But what I needed was on the inside of him. What's on the inside of person is greater than what's on the outside. And I was stuck in that moment where in my mind, I said to God, you know what I've been through, you know my pain, what I've been through at that moment. So he helped me, God, he helped me to actually work on myself. But when it comes to selecting a man, I knew I was on my own because he wouldn't interfere. God does not interfere when it comes to selecting a man. He will represent you with guys, but it is up to you to select that person. So I had to, with the selection, I knew I was on my own. So I had to have faith. And I had to, everyone in my life, they were like, these are players. These are the guys I was like, I trust and believe. And he is a nice guy. And I'm glad that I crossed path with this guy, and he's a lovely person. But the looks, I'm not with him because I know if I date someone based on the looks change. I'm with him based on what's on the inside, because what's on the inside, I cannot take away from him. So if a woman is stuck when it comes to relationship, or when it comes to a man is stuck when it comes to dating, you have to look at where you've been. The women, what kind of a women you have dated, or what kind of a man you have dated. What can you change to actually look at your lifestyle and look at your life story, where you've been? And for me, I had to look back. Why my relationship were not working? My relationship were not working because in my father's life, I was a princess. Look after me. I, basically, when I do something wrong, I don't get told off. I get to sit down. My father sits me down, explain the consequences. He explains everything, that this is what happened when you do wrong. This is what happened when you listen. So he will explain to me, because if he tells me off, I don't know anything. So he will explain to me. And I go to my stepfather. He does the same. He explains to me, if I want something, they have the money, but they're not going to just hand it over. I have to work for it. They will explain why I have to work for that money, and for me to be independent. And then I go to my mom. My mom gives me unconditional love. My grandparents give me unconditional love. Then I date a man who mistreat me. Oh no, hell no. So I had to I had to evaluate all these very habits that I've picked up. I had to understand that my parents, how they raised me, they had to give me unconditional love for me to basically create my own path. So I had to realize that actually I'm creating my own path. I had to leave behind, let my mom's love be separated from my relationship. And I had to basically learn to interview a man, learn to value myself, and choose whether his values and my values, everything aligns with what I'm looking for. And you work with Bob Proctor's team. You know how they speak about the energy, how energy that you have, it will bring you good things that will come your way. So I had to listen to people like Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, and I had to create my own story. Over to you, Dr. Biget. And I don't know if have you been stuck yourself in a when it comes to relationship.
Yeah, I actually I was fortunate. I was almost stuck, and that's the benefit also of being surrounded by people who has as much or if not even more awareness than we are. I would say a couple times where back when I mentions that with my result, with my work result, that was with a friend. And then with the relationships, it's very interesting that you say that. I actually used to have these things as well, where I had so my when I was in a marriage, my former husband used to and he's a great guy in many ways, but one of the things that he did, or maybe still does, is to exercise not even 5 days a week, 6.5 days a week. And it apparently I didn't even realize this, because I was he was proud of how his physique, and I was proud of him and everything, but apparently there was somewhere in me that was resenting that. And like you said, I'm a coach. I have done a lot of things, particularly being a grief coach. I've done seemingly forgiveness up and down, left and right, in no matter way, whatever you want to see it. And I am so grateful that when I meet my current sweetheart, one thing that he does is he wake up extra early in the morning, and he exercise 2 hours practically every day in the morning, and do that six and a half days a week. And so I'm so grateful for my coach, who I work closely with my coaches, and one of them says, "Oh, you went on this guy here. It sounds like everything's great, and how's the date?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know." It's like, oh, you don't know. So like, what's happened? What happened? And thank goodness I am surrounded. There's a saying that you are who the five people you hang out with. So if you're single and all your friends are single and unhappily single, now, there are people who are single and choose to be single, right? But if you're single and all your friends are single and unhappily single, you might want to look around there, because you are the five people you're around with, and you might want to allow yourself some support from people who can see. And I'm so grateful that I have, at that very moment, I have this my coach who says, "So tell me what's going on." I said, "Yeah, no, I don't know. This guy is he's exercising that like some 5 6 days and what have you a week, and it's just, I'm like, you know what, I'm just not into that." And then and he and the coach says, "But I thought you said he looked wonderful and all this thing." And I said, "Well, yes, he is." And so the coach started asking me, is he successful, is he neglecting? I'm like, "Oh no, guys is spectacularly successful in his work, in his business, and has good social life. He just, he exercised some every day and couple hours a day, and that's just so ridiculous." And my coach, being a good coach that this person is, could notice that I was reacting to this instead of responding, and just very gently says, "Well, you seems to react to this a little bit more than you respond to a lot of things. Might want to see what's that all about." And that was, for me, that was enough to be a wake up call. And I look back and I said, "You know what? apparently, as much as I seemingly have done, there is a part of forgiveness and releasing, which is forgiveness is not necessarily approving or agreeing, right? Forgiveness simply is just releasing things to be that we wish to be different, and to part of releasing of this. And so I said, okay, well, let me do some releasing work between now and next Saturday when I have my next date, and see how I feel about everything. And I did that. And it's allowed me to be a lot more open and in a lot better state, being cleaner inside, so to say, and more open. And thank goodness I did that, because then the next date I went in with, I'm no longer like, oh my God, and then I just listened to him. And I listened to the person who's my sweetheart now. I'm like, wow, you have an impressive and inspiring discipline, which at the time, back in the day, it was something that can actually very beneficial for me. His work ethic, his work habit, and in particular his discipline is something that I did not have at the time. And I think a part of me know that if I hang out with him, I would choose and kind of have to change to actually allow me to amplify my result in some other field as well. And it was something that was such an interesting thing. I did have almost stuck. I was stuck for about a day until I spoke with my coach. Thankfully, it was only a day because I have a support from the coach. And then I turned out that the benefit of me in that scenario for being stuck for a day is to actually, like you said, you look in yourself, and who knows, sometimes a lot of time when you stuck in something and you actually choose to release that, with me it's actually amplified. I mean, not in addition to the relationship, it's actually amplified and bring good. My book Seeking Peace, as well as this second book, I would not have this book now if I did not meet my sweetheart and learn to live with an up level of discipline that was required to write a book. I mean, you many times we heard you got to have this kind of discipline to write a book, particularly if you're working full time and all this other thing. That book, probably this both books, and the third book, there's another one too, that probably wouldn't be here if I didn't have that discipline and not being able to serve the way I serve now too. So that was have you ever seen Numsa where you see that you have stuck either yourself or somebody, where someone's stuck in where they are, and then when they're able to change that, it's actually bring result to other field of life as well.
Yes, I have been in that situation myself, and I've seen other people as well. And you know what? Like when I'm gonna make a comment about you and your sweetheart, the way you just explained that he basically does exercises 7 days a week. I do exercises Monday to Friday, 5 days a week as well. But I looked at Martin, and I remember I was like, wow. And then I'm like, but I do the same as well. So why am I judging the poor guy? So sometimes we judge a situation wrong anyway. I've been in a situation myself where sometimes I basically I've learned to not to judge to label my problems anyway. Since 2009, when I was going through a divorce, it opened my eyes that because when you look at the situation in a different way, it will help you to grow. So when I was going through divorce, I basically, that moment I chose to basically to help my life grow, and I chose to basically to find a good psychologist that can help me. But through along the way, basically my focus was not to get better or to be fit to basically find another relationship. My focus was to discover more about me and discover more about life. And as I was going through that journey, I find myself uh, not realizing that I wasn't on my own. God was with me, holding my hands. And even when I was going through pain, and I find that through that pain, there was discovery. I discovered more about myself, self discovery, and there were so many blessings that came along the way that I didn't expect, that my life started changing basically in a different direction completely, where I didn't think that I was gonna be. And in that moment that I started meeting people, and I started my business, and there were so many things, and I started working deep about my spiritual life, just basically to understand that when I say I'm a Christian, who do I present? Do I represent, and who is this God that everything is talking about? And when the more I discovered, the more I realized I find out more about myself. And although I think this story is going to be for another time, because I found myself having to choose. We talk about forgiveness, and we talk about holding unforgiveness within, holding grief. At the time, I didn't realize what it meant when somebody holds anger, holds unforgiveness, and all this bad energy that we go through each and every day, and family history and everything. I didn't realize what it meant. But I can tell you, when when I actually searched my spiritual life and how my life was going and who is this Jesus, and I found myself confronted by the unseen. And I'll talk about that some other time. So I had to, when Bob Proctor talks about energy and talks about this is something that I confronted myself, because I was getting out of that negative, and somebody said no. And that somebody, I ended up realizing, when there's people, they say God and there's Lucifer, it means Lucifer. It means when you hold the unforgiveness, when you hold whatever the bad that you hold, you go to this door. And when you want the good, you go to this door. So for me, I was on this door. And when I wanted to open the door to enter here, that's when I was confronted by the unseen. So I will talk about that some other time. And it was a journey where I wasn't looking for. It was something that, for me, basically, I was looking for a breakthrough in my life. And I didn't know that Lucifer, actually, the Bible that I read every single day when I go to a preacher, it could come to reality to me. And I didn't know that, but it did. So that was something that I had to face myself. So when somebody talks about energy, I have to find out. If somebody says it's a psychic, I have to say thank you very much. No, thanks. And somebody says I'm a prophecy, I want to find out what kind of a prophecy. All these things is a different that I didn't know. So now I had to experience it, and I have to know it. But I wasn't looking for it. I was just looking for me, having this wonderful life with my children, and but I was presented by something, and God showed me that, no, so this is the person that you are, and this is the person that the life that you could live as a person that I've created for you. And I wasn't looking for that. So what I'm trying to say to somebody that is listening right now is, if you are starting a business, you have to understand what you are putting yourself into. If you are looking for love, you have to basically have the knowledge of a relationship, because relationship, finding that special person nowadays is hard. But when you do find that special person, you have to keep the person. And there's so many divorce now in United States. I think the divorce is really high. And in the United Kingdom, things are picking up as well. It's getting there. Basically, I think we are 5% less, but things are basically heating up when it comes to divorce. So you have to surrender. If you're looking for love, surrender to whatever the beliefs that you believe in, and understand the journey of a human being. How does a human being think? See, basically learn more about men. How do they think? If you are a woman, and if you are a man, learn more about men, how they think. And the only way you can discover that is going through your journey yourself, and by having experience with friends that are authentic, that can tell you the real truth, not telling you things that you want to hear, and just watching the life unfolding. Then you'll be able to learn. But then if you are that person that says, I've got it all, I'm perfect, I'm this, then you have some riding mountains to do. Because for me, Dr. Bigot, it was a journey that I wasn't looking for. There are some things, even it goes to talk shows. It was a journey that I wasn't looking for. But through my prayer life and through friends that I chose to hang out with, I chose to hang out with people. And the more I talk about the idea, the more people believed in the idea, and it became the reality. But it's not something that I can say, oh, I always wanted to do this. No. It was basically going and watching Desmond O'Connor, bringing people from United States, from Canada, from everywhere, speaking on his platform. And I was like, this man works hard to get audience. So, and then I had to ask myself, what am I doing to actually say somebody is coming to believe about Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency? What am I doing? Am I working hard to get people, basically audience, to get people listen to my message? What am I doing? So that's when I created Ngozi Talk Show, but it wasn't planned. I met you in London. We never talk about me starting a talk show. It was all about listening to what you do, getting to know you, Dr. Bighead, and connecting with you on social media. And I'm sure you have had to face that situation as well, where you find a breakthrough when you are not looking.
Yeah, absolutely. You be able to find breakthrough for when a lot of times you just work on yourself, like you said. And that's the other things, right? And be if you are seemingly feeling that you're stuck somewhere, a lot of times actually it'll let you know your own demons, so to say. It'll help you get to know your own demon, and then clear that up. And then when you learn to see what's holding you back, then you actually be able to move forward in life in multiple different ways, in not just in one thing. But a lot of time, people, when I work with people, people like, oh my god, I'm stuck and this is awful and things like that. Well, yeah, if you don't want to be stuck, you want to be able to move forward. But instead of, like, as we're wrapping up here, if you feel that you are stuck, instead of seeing it as a hindrance, instead of seeing it like a big boulder, now you're stuck behind this thing and you can't get over it. Well, just see it actually as something that will bring you benefit. Napoleon Hill says that every adversity has the seed of good in it, and so is you being stuck. And it will allow you, if you choose to see it that way, what benefit can you being stuck where you are? Well, first, if you actually really want to move it, you will learn to understand yourself and your fears, your holdback, your grudge, and so forth a little bit better, and you'll be able to release what it is that not serving you. And it's also like with you, actually, Numsa, it's actually allow you to know yourself and your value. And another relationship coach that I interview on my podcast says, one most important thing is to know your boundary, and for you to know your boundary, you got to know your value, and then you can say, okay, well, I've been looking in the wrong place all this time. And if you don't want somebody who exercise 5 to 7 days a week, then you might want to look not only in the gym, for instance. If that's where you've always been looking, you're kind of like, well, hello, I've been looking in the wrong place. So you want to know what's holding you back, and want to know what's your value, like you say, what's important for you, whether it's in business or in relationship. And then also to understand yourself, perhaps, say, Snoomsa, you like, well, and then I look back. I don't want somebody who work out every day, and then I look back and I realize that I work out every day. So what's that all about? So you can understand yourself. So is there something that you're resenting about yourself working out every day? I'm not saying about that with you, but people sometimes say sometimes what we don't like is actually a reflection of ourselves that we might feel uncomfortable about. I have known people who says, oh, I don't like people who always work late, who tend to work late and stay at work late, and so much at work and this and that. And then you look at this person's life, and he himself, or she herself, it happened a lot, work work all the time and work until at least 7:30 every day. And at the same time, the person's like, I don't want somebody who work late. I want somebody who's home on time and not working 60 hours a week. And then, as usually when I speak with these people who says, well, I'm stuck because I can't find some, I'm like, wait a minute, but you are working 60, 70 hours a week. So what's that all about? And then that's usually bring people realizations that, okay, you know what? I've been making up reason, but deep inside, I actually don't like that. And that will be a benefit too, to get to know what it is that you really would love. Perhaps you're living life and you're moving along with life that you're not allowing yourself to really feel it. But somewhere deep in you, it's actually yearning for that. And so that's another benefit of you being stuck. And if you are able to look into all this, then and allow support if you're not able to see them all, the way I allow support from my coach, and with you, Numsa, as well, back in the day, the then you'll be able to move forward. You'll be able to move forward and there are benefit in everything, including being stuck, and it will and yet, but when you're able to do all this, you'll be able to move forward. If you allow support, if you haven't been able to move forward on your own, then perhaps it's time to allow some support. If you don't happen to have friends left and right who are coaches with high level of awareness, you might want to allow and give yourself one who can help you move forward and see what is it that might still be holding you back even after you seemingly talk to everybody else, and what benefit you can have from that, not just having the realizations, but what benefit you can have from that, and how could you change that. And we're here, Numsa's here, I'm here for you to be able to help you release what you're no longer needing, keep and amplify what it is that you love, and then create a result that you want, even if you have been stuck with some of my clients for 20 years, 30 years prior to working together.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. And I agree with you. If you're looking for love, please don't stuck in this triangle of being negative. Have open mind and don't judge it based on your circumstances, based on your past, or based on what your friends have been through, because the universe or God, for me, I say God is the way of bringing miracles into your life. So don't reject the miracles that comes your way by judging your life based on your circumstances and labeling problems and say, you know what, my life is bad. Or my life is wonderful. Yes, in that bad situation, you can find a miracle. In that good, wonderful situation, you can find the bad. So life is a journey that we all have to experience. And some fall, they never get up, but some fall, they get up. They get to discover themselves more and live to tell the story. So everyone that is watching right now, please subscribe to our channel. I think Dr. Bickett has covered everything about what to do if you want to connect with us. So I say subscribe to our channel and follow us on our social media and enjoy the rest of the day and live with grace, everyone, and God bless.